Welcome to the third day of the symposium on strengthening the capacities of public institutions and developing effective partnerships to realize the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. My name is Chung Eui-jung at UNPOC, MC of today. We hope you have enjoyed the symposium so far and have continued to build relationships and foster networking. Even if it rains today, I can feel your enthusiasm on this symposium. And now, let's begin with Plenary Session 4, Accountable Institutions for SDG Implementation, Data, Statistics, and Analytics for Monitoring, Review, and Follow-up. Now, I'd like to present the moderator of this session, Mr. Kap-ping Yeo, Governance and Public Administration Expert at UNPOC DPIDG UN DESA. Please welcome him with a big hand.
Thank you, EJ. Good morning, everyone. Now, I would like to invite our other three panelists to take the seat on the stage. May I call Mr. Martins, the Chief of Statistics International Cooperation at SDG Focal Point, Timor-Leste. I also call Mr. Buhana, Director for Macro Planning and Statistical Analysis, Minister of National Development Planning, Indonesia, and Mr. Tachuma, Monitoring and Evaluation Officer, Minister of Land, Environment, and Rural Development, Mozambique. Please take a seat. Okay, now I will start with a presentation on the SDG tracking and monitoring and following up. So, based on the 2018 UN Sustainable Development Report, we just have 12 years left to the 2030 deadline. We should have inject a sense of urgency. This kind of ambitious agenda necessitates profound change that goes beyond business as usual. This is a quote from the Secretary General and Antonio Guterres. And also, currently, the high-level political forum is a very useful mechanism to have the in-depth focus. And also, the report itself also conducted the analysis of interlinkages among SDGs. And what's more important is that among all the indicators, the progress is uneven. In some areas, we have more progress, and in some other areas, we are really lagging far behind. And also, even between countries, the development is also very uneven. So we should make all the efforts to ensure that all the nations are up to track, so with no countries left behind. And also, in some areas, we are too slow to meet the deadline. For example, maternal mortality reduction. And also in other many areas, we are also losing the ground. For example, like biodiversity loss, like carbon dioxide emission. And also, it's very important to understand that all these SDGs are linked to each other. They are indivisible. Just a few cases about this, the key indicators that are reviewed by 2018 high-level political forum. The overarching theme is building resilient societies. So many countries still, people still lacking the water and sanitation. And also biodiversity decline is also a serious concern. And also the biodiversity of the water is also a serious issue. And also, we globally, by 2018, we have 108 countries had national policies on sustainable consumption and production. And also, this is the general situation of the world population, their access to basic services, about their access to water and sanitation, and also about energy. Because this access to the essential services is very closely linked to the fundamental human rights. And also about only 45% of the world's population covered by at least one social protection cash benefit. And also on the right, you can see that it's about a proportion of vulnerable population covered by social protection system. For example, yesterday afternoon, we have 3 group discussions about the older persons, about the women, and also about the migrants. So the first, you can see the first bar is about the coverage of, for the older persons. Second one is about the women. So the path to resilient cities must address the growing social, economic, environment challenges. So basically, we look at the 3 indicators. One is about air pollution. So, for example, by 2016, 4.2 million people died from ambient air pollution. And also, in Caribbean region, more than half of the population that live within 1.5 kilometers of the sea. So they are very prone or vulnerable to the natural disasters such as a typhoon or cyclone. And also in 2017 is also the year that the most costly by hurricane seasons on record. And also actually the resilient society can also defect the threat of conflict. So many, actually many conflicts in the world are caused by the, some degradation of the environment and also the humans' problem to gain access to the essential services such as water. And also migrants can work for all in building more inclusive and sustainable societies, yeah. This is the general situation about this migration. Because in Europe now, I mean, how to include the migrants in the society is also a serious policy issue for many countries. So now this part is not purely from UN SDG report, but it's based on our concerns from the perspective of public administration, public institutions, and the government agencies that responsible for the tracking SDG implementation, what we're confronting a very serious issue about SDG data gaps. Yeah. So based on the analysis and the information reflected by many countries during high-level political forum, and also on many other occasions, such as international conferences, and also some research we have already conducted, the data availability is a very serious concern in many countries. Yeah? For the implementation of the SDG, many countries, the first step is the mainstreaming the global agenda to national development agenda. So, because every country, they have their own national priorities, and also they have every country is a different, have a different situation. So data gaps and through the capacity building has been raised by many countries. And also the new and smart governance also requires high quality, timely, and disaggregated data. Because especially disaggregated data has been highlighted also in the discussion. Because without disaggregated data, we cannot have right information about those kind of vulnerable groups, how they are moving on in from the SDG implementation. And also our open government initiative, especially open government data, including those kind of big data that collected by government, also requires more data categories to be open, and also better data catalogs, and also better metadata. This has been, how to say, being one of the area of our DPIDG division. So we are releasing every 2 years the e-government survey. So we have some tracking about this status, about open government data initiative by member states. And also with the mobile penetration and also new technology, especially the low cost of GIS system applications, we should find new methods to collect data for improving efficiency in data reporting. With the handheld devices that become more and more cheaper and cheaper, and also could be available for the national statisticians. So now the direct reporting has become available, and also with the GIS system, more and more countries can report the data on time, real time, and also with the location data. And also on many occasions, to ensure that the government can respond to the situation quickly, we should also have, the government officials should have also have the capacity to conduct a rapid assessment, especially for the kind of post-disaster recovery government efforts. The rapid assessment techniques are very important. Yeah. And also to build an inclusive society, the civil registration and also vital statistics system, and also to build up the ID management system is also very kind of a key to building an inclusive society. The United Nations Statistics Division of DESA, we already conducted the new round, 10-year round of the 2020 World Population Housing Census Program. Many countries in this region, they already finished the round of the 2020 round. And also from last year, our division and also the DPI, also ONPOC, we have already conducted a capacities assessment. So the result shows that SDG tracking is really a big issue for many countries. They have a problem on the data gathering, especially those data on tier 2 and tier 3. I will explain to you about the tier classification. And also how about the data management system that conducted data analysis and also disaggregation of data. And also countries have problems about how to disseminate the data to their citizens and also civil society organizations. And also in the first day in the afternoon, and also we have 3 countries, they have they reported their VNR process. And also Laos, they also particularly mention about the problem, how they can better use the administrative data. So this is the tier classification for global SDG indicators. So as of May of this year, the updated tier classification contains 93 tier 1 indicators, 72 tier 2, and 63 tier 3 indicators. Yeah. This one is a general classification of a different tier system. Tier 1 means the good sound, international agreed conceptual framework, and also regular collection of data. Tier 2 is, we have a very good internationally established conceptual framework, but the collection is not regular. Tier 3, neither side. So I want to use the 3 cases just shared with us in the first day afternoon. That one is about Lao PDR. If you can see that they have the data mapping exercise for all the SDGs. So they found that 134 out of 143, they have relevant targets. Yeah. So they also, in the conclusion of the presentation by Bhutan, they also saying that the challenge, one of the challenges is the weak data quality and availability, and also weak statistical capacity management. So this is about Lao PDR. They said that the so-called localizing SDGs, here the localization means they're customized to the national context. So nearly 60% of the indicators has been incorporated in the national strategy for the economic development planning. Yeah. So they are aiming to include all the indicators to their next round, 9th and 10th national strategy. Yeah. So also one of the key lessons they learned is that administrative data need to be harmonized, streamlined, and strengthened, and institutional and strategic capacities need to be enhanced. Because many statistical offices in the world, they have not the capacity to better use the administrative record, for example, like a business register, like a tax record. I mean, without conducting set up the new system, how they can use the current existing administrative data to generate those kind of data that are needed for policy purposes. It's very important for many countries. Many countries, they're trying to use techniques like big data to use the existing administrative data to generate the policy relevant data. And also by Mongolia, it's about how they data mapping exercise. As I said in the very beginning of this presentation, said that when they're mainstreaming SDG indicators to the national data, national priorities, they should pick up those data that are relevant to their own country specific situation. From here, you can see that only like 36, those kind of indicators are relevant to their own countries. Yeah? Some other indicators are not relevant or not available, not existing in their own country. To ensure that globally, the member states can improve their data statistical capacity and also to better tracking the progress of SDG implementation, the UN Statistics Division under the UN DESA, we have from last year in South Africa in Cape Town, we passed the Cape Town Global Action Plan for Sustainable Development Data. And also last month, this month, just finished yesterday actually, 2 days before, more than 2,000 people that gathered in Dubai, UAE. They also passed a Dubai declaration about supporting the implementation of the Cape Town Global Action Plan for SDG data. Especially the participants, including the government officials, civil society, and all the international organizations, they committed that they were mobilizing financing at the domestic and international levels to ensure the political commitment for that, to strengthen the data systems, to improve the data coverage, frequency, and availability, and the quality. So, because we are from, most of people here, we are from the public administration side, so I would like to briefly mention about the tracking of SDG 16. So if you take a look at the TO classification system of SDG indicators, you can find those kind of list of indicators are really relevant to our public administration system, how to tracking the status of SDG 16. One is about the 16.7, is about the participation, representative decision making. And also 16.9 is about legal identity. So it's also, this one is also have a Tier 1 classification. It means that it has a very kind of internationally established methodology, and also such data are regularly collected. And also then 16.10 is about information access. Yeah? So this data is also about the Tier 2, and the custodian is the UNESCO Statistical Institute. And also in our UN e-government survey, we also have some information about those countries who have the legislation to ensure that the citizens have access to the public information. And also for the data on the SDGs, so later our office will distribute the UN 2018 Sustainable Development Report. You can collect from the table later. So also we have a website for all the SDG data, and also with the analysis on the specific indicators, and also on the countries, and also on the regions. You can go to the website for finding all information. And also actually the UN also set up the interagency and expert group meeting, expert group like a task force convened by the UN Secretary General to continue to follow up and tracking up the data availability issue. Yeah. So this is the task force that between the international organizations. Yeah. So for more information, you can go to the website, just unstats.un.org/SDGs. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So now let me have the pleasure to invite Mr. Martins from Timor-Leste.
Distinguished delegate, ladies and gentlemen. It is being very pleasure and honor to me to be here today for attending the symposium by hearing for today's expertise views and the country experiences on the country, on the strengthening the capabilities for public institutions for the 2030 agenda. Without go further, I would like to thank you, the UN DESA, with other UN bodies, then in particular to the government of the Korea, Ministry of Interior and Safety, for very welcoming hosting and sponsors this important event. As my presentation today will share experience of Timor-Leste on how we are now on the SDG implementation, the progress that country been made, and the challenging that still we are facing with at the moment. My topic of presentation will cover some views on countries' milestone, SDG milestones, the legal frame that in place, then also the country exercise on integration the SDG into the National Strategic Development Plan, progress and challenging, then also the action for our way forward. As NDG milestones, so how is the process of the country commitment on localizing SDG into the country's situation and country concept? Since 2015, once SDG had been globalized discussion at the global forum, at the national level, NSO, we have initiated several meetings at the country level and the municipality level, with purpose on raising awareness and bringing awareness to the stakeholder, development partner, to know where are they working on and how is the process of transition from the MDG to SDG at the 2015 at the early stage. So in 2015, we are, from NSO side, we are running several meetings at the national and municipality level. Besides that, at the Office of Prime Minister, they also conducted several meetings at the top management level on resolution, government resolution, then parliament resolution, on then also release the national SDG roadmap. So the main purpose of the initiative that taken by NSO at that time is actually to bring the line ministers to associate them in the real context, that in fact, to respond to the SDGs global indicator, there is no unique or single data source can use for it. It requires various or many source of data, not only from NSO side, administrative data, from the public sector side, from the civil society, and so forth and so on. That is the main purpose of the consultation that we had at the country level, then also the municipality level. Then more closely, to bring the line minister to see that how is the data, do they have the data available in their institution? Do the work that they have done is close to which goal particularly? So actually to bring acknowledge to them to see how they can understand that the work that they have done is associated or at least close related to some particular goals that globally have adopted. So as the process of the country milestones at the work done by the Office of Prime Minister, as for this symposium, just to say a bit that this G7 plus country is as a champions, not the G7 plus country, the small z, the top, is the champions of the goal 16 of the SDG. So it is composed by almost 20 countries. So my dear colleagues from Afghanistan, PNG here, Timor-Leste also part of that. So it is or the philosophy of without peace, no development without peace, no peace without development. It's the basic philosophy of the fragile state concept on how to fight in for the SDG goal 16. So at the process of the legal frame, so we have a legal frame in place, so government resolution, national parliament resolution. So the parliament resolution is to give more power to the government to execute the SDG into national strategic development plan. Then also the directive of the prime minister to form the national mechanism of the SDG working group itself. So this is the national mechanism. So we are from NSO side under the Ministry of Finance. Just to share a bit that the SDG working group at the country level is leading by Unit of Monitoring and Planning and Evaluation under the Prime Minister Office. This unit is more given power by according to the law, the Prime Minister directive. They're the one who have more power to coordinate and leading the SDG at the country level. So we are in the Timor-Leste National Strategic Development Plan. We also have our vision. So we have 2011 and 2030 development vision is to be as a high middle country by 2030. So it is the vision of the country. So then by doing that, we have a alignment of our national strategic national development plan into SDG into the national strategic development plan. So this exercise is done by our colleagues from UPMA, from the Unit of Monitoring. But what we found here is there is, out of 229 global indicators, 110 is met with our national strategic development plan. But for NSO side, we have seen that it is still another exercise or challenging that in which particular indicator it's aligned with. So in this report, it doesn't mention clear about it. So by long vision of the country vision, so we have designed it into certain period of the intervention, so short, medium, and long term. So we are SDG Goal 16 as an institution is be part of our short priority from 2011 to 2015, but now it's over. So then also the attribution of every single minister into the global indicator. So we have exercise is done by the UPMA. So so the progress of despite the Prime Minister decree, it doesn't give more power to NSO office, but NSO office has some progress that we have made. So to the commitment of the international report, then also for the national report. So we have through our national routine surveys, population census, surveys on demographic health survey, labor force survey, and many other surveys, we have complete report to the globally and then also to national for monitoring and evaluation. Just so a very example of the commitment for the global data report, then also for the national data report. What is the challenging? The challenge that we are facing is at the moment, Timor-Leste, since 2017 to recent date, we have a political deadlock. So it is very challenging. So once the presidents have rejected to appoint 9 ministers by the government, so we have 9 ministers vacant. Then for sure it's very affecting to the institutional functionality. So I just take a few seconds to finalize it. So actually, as a fragile state, the political is more influence rather than economic, because we need to have a strong decision. Otherwise, the machine is not functioning. So during our consultation, leading by myself and the colleagues with the Prime Minister's office, we find that it is important to bring everybody on board. It is not only NSO side. It is not only private sector side. It is not only academic side. But it has to be hand in hand. So then also you have to know who is going to help you. You don't leave development partner alone or the international agency alone. Though you have to communicate. It's more effective communicate in order to solve out the problem. So I think this is the end of my conclusion, and I thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Martins. So now let me have the pleasure to invite Mr. Buana from Indonesia.
Thank you for the moderator. You make me nervous because you said that I have to present the data only 10 minutes, but I'll try. Okay, distinguished participants, Regional Asia and Pacific Symposium, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. May peace be upon us. I'm honored to be here with you all in this symposium under the United Nations Development of Economic and Social Affairs, UN DESA. Let me also thanks to the Ministry, the Interior and Safety Republic of Korea, and Incheon Metropolitan City. On this occasion, in order to provide a brief sketch of Indonesian recent development about the data, please allow me to present, make a 4 major points about this presentation. First, about the role of Ministry for National Development Planning in implementing SDGs. The second part is structure digital platform for reviewing data and achievement toward the SDGs. And the third part about the data improvement, the last part about the next agenda about the data. Ladies and gentlemen, the planning documents plays an important role in Indonesia because we have a long-term planning for 2005 until 2025. It makes that this is below. It makes give the guidance for the government in Indonesia about the make-up plan. The second part about the medium-term plan. This is a 5-year plan. It will has been adjust with the vision and mission the president and presidents. And the third part about the annual work plan. It means that the plan will be adjusted by the recent condition about the recent condition and for example like a macroeconomic condition and something like that. This one. This is the sketch of how about we divide into 4 part of the medium plan. There's each part have their own themes. For example, the RPJM is in Indonesia. This is the rencana, this is a plan. This is 2005 until 2009 and etc. Ladies and gentlemen, related to the implementation of SDGs, our government commit about the implementation of SDGs. It showed that there is there's a presidential decree about how the achieving Indonesian SDGs. And based on that decree, my minister or Ministry for Planning Agency make the implementation about make a regulation and something like that to make the implementation SDGs both in national and the local government. And this one about the achievement the Indonesian SDGs, we had in the 99 for the SDGs global rank, and the global score index is 62.8, and regional average score of 64.1. We have the achievement, a good achievement for SDGs goal number 1, no poverty. Our performance score for until 96.3% about the performance score for the no poverty. Related to the achievement about the indicators, indicator, goal, and target in, for the global SDGs, we have a little, have a map to the like this. There's a SDGs in global. This is the planning document. For 70 goals, we have aligned with the priorities. We have 9 priorities that's aligned with the global. About the target, there are 94 out of 169 targets of the SDGs that are already aligned with the National Development Planning 2015-2019 targets. For indicators, in the global side, 241 indicators. We have a little bit, I want to explore more about the indicator. In indicator, we classified into 4 classified. First, about match with the national indicator, there are 85 indicators. The 4 proxy indicator at national level, 76. But in the planning document, it becomes 165 indicators plus 69 indicators. 165 indicators as proxy to the global indicators. And 69 indicators is additional. So the indicator in Indonesia for this is bigger rather than the global indicator. To be developed, 75 indicators, and the indicator is 5 indicators. 183 out of 319 source of data of most of these SDGs indicator is coming from line ministries. If you look at that, this is the source of data. We have 3 source of data from the data SDGs. First, from the ministry or institution data report, there are 183, and the statistic Indonesia 97, and the 39 combined from the statistic Indonesia and the ministry or institution data report. This is about how if we elaborate from the statistics Indonesia, there are 66 national indicator as proxy to the global indicator, and 31 national indicator matching to the global indicator. This is about the quality of the data. As the speaker said first, 3 minutes? Really? Oh my God. As the first speaker said that there is a gap. This is quality of data. This is we have make a map of the 4 pillars. Good is when the data is sufficient. Fair, data still need to improve. Poor, no data provided by the ministries. Okay. This is how to make managing data indicator. We in SDGs metadata, we have covered goal, target, indicator, etc. This is for the example for the metadata, goal, target, indicator, code, and remarks. If we look at that national, provincial, and district level, this is like a dashboard. If you look at that, there is a blank for the goal number 12 and until the 15, because there's no data, because it's coming from the line ministries. That it means the data grabbed from in my country. This is a dashboard. The goal, if you look at indicator, year, and this is like this. This is a visual national level, provincial level. Look at this dashboard. If you look at the spatial planning, it's like this. So this is, you can see that this is a map of Indonesia. You can see that how about the achievement for SDGs for each province, we can see in his. Okay, the next challenge about the SDGs in Indonesia is ensuring that no one left behind principles. This is like, but the most important is still data gaps, as the first speaker said. So we want to emphasize about how to make a comprehensive and integrative database. Yes, 1 minute left, okay. So we have a program, One Data program. It means that with current condition, we have the scattered data, openness, with coordination, and something like that. In this One Data policy, we expect that we have the big data for supporting real-time government decision. This is that it's coming from the integrated government data. How about the structure coordination between institutions and the government open data? There's a process in this One Data policy about we have to restructure our regulation institution and something like that. This is about how to make a coordination, because we have the saying both like Ministry of National Planning, Ministry of Finance, Home Affairs, and Apparatus. This is the principle. We have the data standard, metadata, improbability data, and reference and data code. Conclusion, 1 minute. The next agenda, first about the integrating and mainstreaming the SDGs indicator within the national and subnational medium-term development planning. This is the agenda. The second one is developing more integrated and comprehensive database system as indicator integration from Central Bureau of Statistics, from the survey and ministry and institution. Third, preparing to synchronize the goal, target, and indicator with the vision and mission the elected president, vice president in the medium term 2020-2024. Because next year, 1 minute, next year is there's a general election for president and vice president. So we have to adjust about the medium plan to the elected president. 4, establish a center at university. 5, conduct a small area estimation for data SDG effort. Then the last one, development mechanism monitoring, evaluation, and reporting for state and non-state actor. Terima kasih. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buana. Excellent presentation. Actually, Indonesia is one of the leading countries, not in the region. I think their whole system, they started very, very early. The way the SDG indicators are endorsed, their country has started pioneering pilot of the data map exercise. It covered all the areas that normally the developing country will come from. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Now, let me have the pleasure to invite Mr. Tachuma from Mozambique. Yeah, now you have the floor. Yeah.
Bom dia. Morning. Good morning to all. This is Portuguese. It's a pleasure to be here in this very important event and be with these distinct guests and Mr. Keeping, who is supporting us in this process in Mozambique, and all organizers. I have to recognize that Mozambique is a lot to do regarding CDGs. So this kind of forum is important to us to improve and to strengthen the CDG process. I hope in next forum or next symposium, our picture will improve. So our situation will improve. I think most of the issues have been covered by the former presenters. I won't deal much on that, but I'll focus more on challenge that we are facing. Let me just highlight some economic trends in social environment that the country is facing now, because that's important, a challenge of versus sustainable and versus economy. So Mozambique has grown in past years 7%, is a growing economy in recent years. And there's a pressure on the population trends. By last census, we are predicting 27 million. That to make the 10th post population in Africa. But this will bring a pressure on the natural resource, of course, and also issue for climate change. I think all you are following up with the news about the progress regarding oil and gas in Mozambique, that a lot of massive investments are going on now regarding the prosperity and the researching. So they put pressure on the issues regarding settlement, issues regarding the territorial planning, and standard of life, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, regarding what we are doing regarding the CDGs, I'll trust to the institutional framework. So as Mr. Kipi was saying that most of the national priority are aligned with the CDG, we need to mainstreaming and national development planning. So here we identified some main entry points for to mainstream CDGs at the national government and crucial cross-cut set of ministries. You have the first, the one who guided the development, the policy development in Mozambique is the National Development Strategy, that a time frame of 25 years. That's guide the priorities of development for Mozambique. Is that the first end point for CDGs? And also, currently is underway the 5-year program, where you have a priority 5 regards sustainable natural resources to ensure the integration of blue-green economy indicators and green growth under national development priorities of Mozambique. So these are personalized every year, equal national social development plans. And there's a Sustainable Development National Program. It's developed by Minister of Land, where I'm working for, and it's full alliance. So I'm proud because I've been part of this drafting of this program. And there's all the climate change adaptation mitigation strategy. And we have sectoral plans like rural development national strategy. That's that Mozambique, 80% population living in rural areas. But we are shifting from rural to urban areas because of other issues like employment, look for better opportunities in urban areas. And as sustainable authorities, that's a key challenge. You have district strategic plans that you are developing as well. Regarding the inter-coordination for DCGs, you have the Minister of Economy and Finance as a lead institution. And there's a ministerial reference group that I'm part of just to track the indicators that are aligned with the setter ministers. And also, I'm just sharing some best practice, but I recognize, as I said before, we have a lot to do. Currently, we are developing the CDG national guidelines. With support to UNDP, and also the communication CDG document. But this is a sectorial document which is under Ministry of Rural Development. What we try to do is to identify that indicators contribute for the ministry mandates and the priorities. And is under elaboration the official national voluntary report on CDGs. That's some pilot initiative that you are trying to localize CDGs at the local level. You have these 2 local districts who try to integrate the sustainable and green issues at the local planning, and selected 2 districts of Gaza province. This is a very touristic place. So that's some of the activities we're doing. We provide the training, capacity building for the local planners, for, as I think, to integrate economic indicators in the proposal. So those are the steps. I won't go on that. I can share the presentation and you see how those indicators. That's our matrix that to identify, select some indicators for regarding the sustainable development of natural resource environments. That's what I'm trying to focus. I hope this is, I will summarize some of the key points. I think one of the key points is the budget allocation. Of course, the economic constraint, limited resources that contribute to not meet all the goals that you are planning. And I think other key issue is the involvement for other sectors, like private sectors, that they play a key role. That's is important to put them on the board, but there's still a challenge. There's a resistance to them to come to discuss the issue regarding sustainability. The statistical information, that you need a lot of support. Ineffective data collection and information. That starts from the central level to, thank you, I have 1 minute, but I think I'll manage. Which efforts you are trying to do? We have developed the platform of stats, but the weakness is something that is being developed by one ministry, so you need to be awareness by other ministries to get also these kind of initiatives. And currently, the strategic plan for environmental and the capacity building, I told previously. And of course, trying to mobilize champions to find a key institution. In this regard, I have to share that you have a Council of Sustainability is co-chaired by Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister is got a lot of power, of course, so it's easy to mainstreaming. So my last slide is I got, I hope it's not a shopping list, but is what's the real situation about our needs regarding the mostly resource mobilization, participation arrangements, and you need to engage more, and this kind of forums and symposium are good to strengthen our approach and exchange ideas and improve other means of knowledge. So I came to end for my presentation. Thank you for attention. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chama. Yeah. Also, now I open the floor just for up to 2 questions because we are a little bit lag behind. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to have a clarification from our colleague, Dr. Eka from Indonesia. You mentioned the role of the universities, and I happen to be in the group that we're talking about getting the universities to work together to prepare a curriculum for SDG, and Indonesia is not with our group. But you mentioned about the role of universities. Can you give us an idea what it is? What do you do? Do you prepare the curriculum? Do you have a network, et cetera, et cetera? Thank you very much.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. Alex from Philippines. Yes, it means that we try to have a collaboration with the university because to get make like input from the data, because in the universities they have then our experts about how the methodology, about the concept and something like that, and give the input from the government related to how to achieve the data for the SDGs. We have a collaboration with the University of Pajajaran from in Bandung. In Bandung is the West Java. We have a collaboration where give the for the example like first about the concept about the data that SDGs wants to develop, and the second one about the methodology, and the fourth about the how about make a source of the data, something like that. That's a collaboration, and we have two university collaborate, and the next year we try to extend the other university. Just like that. Thank you.
Okay, I can take just one last question before I close this session. Okay, I don't see any raising hands, so I would like to thank all our speakers. Can we give them a round of applause for their excellent presentation? So, yeah, thank you. So I now, close this session. Yeah.